Chop him up, Rose. Kill him with the jockey. Go and kill the jockey. Kill the jockey. Kill the jockey. Kill that bleeding jockey. Go on. Kill the jockey. Kill the jockey. Kill the jockey. Da. You filmed it.
spotty now. What's up, little one? What you spotted is interesting, eh? Is that you, Rosie? You coming as well? Come on. Is you missing something? Come on, where are you, baby? Where are you? Come here, Rosie. Come on. Come here, sugar lump. Hello, beautiful. There we go. There's our little princess. You sit on the window with Jim. Go on then, look out the window with Jimbo. No? No. Well, please more. Right, let's mix some bit of lemon yellow there. One of my favourite shades of yellow. Well, it's a bright, fresh morning, March the 18th. That weird noise is the dog, by the way. What's happened over there? Why is that fallen over? Let's go and sort that out. This tacky little ornament. Don't like it, but Richard likes it. I don't. As us have been married, is enduring each other's bad taste. I got those from the garden centre at Port Sunlight the other day. I think they're rather lovely. What's coming up? There's a crocus, couple of crocus coming up over there. Tulips and a crocus coming into bulb over there. The forsythia is starting to come into bud. You can see a few yellow flowers on it now. And the hollyhock's starting to grow up from the base. That's a raspberry. Some more things coming up there. Snowdrops have gone over now. No sign of life in the clematis yet. I must trim those dead leaves back. That's crocosmia. Don't know what this is, don't know what it's called. There's rather lovely little flowers on it. Got more tulips coming up over there. And narcissi in bloom beyond it. Must weed this patio. Patio's a mess, isn't it? Past its best, really. What have we got over here? We've got a poppy and a bunch of strawberry plants. Some kind of spring bulbs there. The grown leaves, but no sign of any buds yet. The rhubarb's starting to come up. And we've got bluebells in flower. Don't know what this is called. It has beautiful flowers, pale violet flowers. Flowered prolifically for ages. And, bit of good news, the Love Lies Bleeding's coming up again. And over here, we've got another clematis that's going well. It's got green on it already, fresh growth. A couple of poppies underneath it. And over here, we've got some... You hear the blackbird? You've got tulips coming up. And this, oh, what's it called? I'm always forgetting the name of this plant. Some kind of shrub with big purpley flowers. Oh, I forget. I know what it is, but I've forgotten it for now. Anyway, I tend to do this. And so that's our little garden. It's only a little garden, isn't it? But my little corner of the world. This is a big cherry tree. edible cherries. Bit of a nuisance really. It's too big a tree and too small a garden. I personally wouldn't have planted it. It was obviously here when we moved in. But yeah, as the season gets going, you'll see all kinds of growth. We've got a lovely little rose here. Bought that last year at the garden centre in a sort of bargain shelf that was looking rather sorry for itself. And I thought all you need is a good prune and a bit of TLC and it'll be fine. So here we are, my little bit of the world. And as you can see, the dogs absolutely love it. And after all, that is what is important. As long as my dogs are happy, I'm happy. Hi. Well, it's a beautiful spring morning. I've got to get a few tasks done today. I hope you've enjoyed this video. It's been a little bit different from my usual videos in that I'm using some technology that's new to me. So I've been experimenting a little bit with the format, mixing things together. Rather than doing a gardening video, then a walkabout video, then an art studio video, I've kind of put them all together in one. Maybe if you like it, let me know. If you don't like it, let me know in the comments below. So, I'm working on a watercolour sketch here. I don't actually like it all that much. Yeah. It's not a good one. Never mind. Hello, Rosie darling. Hello, sweetie pie. Let's be having you. Hello, my darling. You come to join us, have you? Oh, look at you. Aren't you so beautiful? Yes, you are. Oh, she's a little darling, aren't you? Yes, you are. Little princess. So, here's Rosie, as you can see. Always ready for a cuddle, aren't you, darling? This little dog lives for cuddles, honestly, don't you? Little precious, aren't you, sweetie pie? Gorgeous, aren't you? So, what we got on here? A watercolour painting that I don't particularly like, I'm currently doing. Over there on the little desktop easel, you can see a sketch pad. Oh, can you see that? Hard to tell with this new technology if you can see it or not. That's a quick watercolour sketch from my local park. And the notes that you might be able to see there, they're notes for the final section of the Artisan-Sorcerers series. The 5th novel has taken me an age to write. Been a difficult novel to write. Not just because I keep getting interrupted by life and so on. Life does tend to get in the way of your interest, doesn't it? But because it's the final in the series, or at least the final so far, maybe I'll come back to it, but maybe not. Time will tell. Won't it, Rosie? Time will tell, won't it? Yeah, time will tell. So those are my notes for the final section of the novel. It's taken a long time because I started writing it a few years ago now, and I wasn't happy with the way it was going, so I set it to one side and came back to it quite some time later. Read it again. I thought, I don't like the way it's turning out. So I re-edited it and threw out about 25,000 words. I mean, really, that's like half a novel almost. And I just rewrote it and kept some stuff and got rid of other stuff. And I wanted more drama. And you're definitely going to get that, aren't we, Rosie? So those are my notes for what's happening. Some people, when they're writing, do acres and acres of complex notes. I can't be bothered. I've never done it that way. Most of the time the notes are just in my head. I keep a rough note of what I've written already, but what I'm going to write tends to be no more exhaustive than what you can see on the list there, just pointers, and that to me is sufficient. I've tried doing chapter by chapter notes. It doesn't work for me. I'm not saying it's wrong to do it that way, it's just what works for each writer, isn't it? There's no right or wrong way, in that if it works for you or it doesn't, that's all that matters. Somebody asked me why don't I do a series of videos on how to write. Oh, isn't there so much of that already? Haven't millions of people done that already? So Rosie's gone over there. She's watching me from the doorway. Okay, how to write. I'll have a go at doing a very quick how to write video. Well, there's no hard and fast rules, because every so-called rule of how to write, someone else has done something completely different with great success. Get on with it. That's how you write. You get on with it. Research only what you need to research and forget the rest. Don't spend ages in planning and research. Just dive in and get on with it. Write what interests you. A lot of people say, oh, you should write what you know. That's nonsense, because every science fiction book, every fantasy book, horror book, you don't really know those situations, because they're fantasy, they've been made up. You don't really know the monster. You don't really know what life in outer space is like. You've made it up. So of course you don't have werewolves. You can write about werewolves. You don't actually know one. That's just a silly example. Just get on with it. Just have fun with it. There's another rule that you hear about a lot about, write 1,000 words a day. Well, that's all very well if you've got the time and haven't got a full-time job or kids or a family that needs your attention. Then trying to write 1,000 words a day is next to impossible. And not only that, if you can't do that, you're setting yourself up to fail in more ways than one. If you set your goal to be 1,000 words a day and you routinely can't reach that because of circumstances, well, you're going to start saying, oh, I can't do this, I'm no good at this, I'm a failure. No, it's just you set your goals too high. Maybe you could write 1,000 words a week, 1,000 words a month. You know your situation, I don't. Or just write when you feel like it. Oh dear. You don't have to jump through hoops that other people hold up. You really don't. You can write from a very technical point of view. You brush up on grammar and punctuation and so on. Sentence structure, if you wish to. Then again, some free-form writers ignore most of that and do their own thing. If you're writing for a specific market, then you do have to aim your article at that magazine or that online magazine. A lot of magazines are online now, rather than in paper form. The production costs and distribution costs cripple most magazines, and so lots have just gone onto an online format, in case you don't know that already. Oh dear. If you use a search engine, you will very quickly find umpteen outlets to sell your stories to. You've got to write them before you can sell them. And just because you've written a brilliant story doesn't necessarily mean you'll get published. Not because there's anything wrong with that story, but just a particular editor wasn't keen on it. It can be just purely subjective. And also editors have to make sure that their magazine material fits their audience. It has to be sure that their audience hasn't had too similar a story within too short a time, or the audience wanders off. Or maybe the editor's in a grump that day and just doesn't happen to like your story. That can happen too. Is it at the end of the world? No. Send it somewhere else. If 100 people tell you the same thing, maybe they have a point. It's worth stopping and rereading your story and thinking, maybe I can tweak it and get it a bit better. No point being too precious about these things. There are a mass of online magazines that you can send your stories off to. Really. Hundreds if not thousands. You can either use a search engine to find them, or there are websites that help you to find them by listing outlets, such as Submittable. That's the name of the website, Submittable. And there are a whole bunch of similar ones. Basically, you feed in the details of your story, and they'll provide a big long list of all magazines that take that kind of story. You still have to go to each magazine's website and read their guidelines and have a look at the few back issues in the magazine to make sure that you're not wasting your time and that your story has a possibility of fitting in there. But it's a lot quicker than just doing a normal search engine. Some magazines want you to pay a submission fee when you send a story in. Personally, I won't. I think good grief, they pay so little if they pay at all. But, I'm not paying for you to read my story. If I was going to do that, I'd first put it online for free for people to read. And when you consider that most published books, from big publishers, I mean the big 5 name publishers, most published books sell no more than 1,000 copies. Well, you can easily pick that up yourself online from an online magazine. You must make your own decision about what you want to do. New writers often have silly ideas about writing and money. They think, in general, that you can write 3 or 4 novels and you'll be sitting comfortably. You can give up your full-time job and live off your writing. It's nonsense. Sorry to disappoint you, but that's simply not the case. I've just told you, most books sell 1,000 copies or less. You can't live on that. Of course you can't. It's ridiculous. Of course you can't. I mean, the big name writers, Stephen King, Joanne Rowling, etc., they've managed it. But there's been surveys over the last few years which look into how many people within the previous year had actually bought a single book. And on average, half of the population haven't bought a single book in that past 12 months. And some of those books they bought were second hand, which doesn't benefit the author at all. Book sales way down on what they used to be a decade or more ago. And so for a new author to make a living at being a writer, you'd probably do better working in a supermarket. Really? I can remember years ago a favourite writer of mine who's had novels, books published, had columns printed in magazines and newspapers regularly. This person, I won't name them, let it slip, but they actually worked as a postman. And I was shocked. I was genuinely shocked. Look, why is this really talented writer working as a postman? Now, there's nothing wrong with being a postman. Of course there isn't. It's a perfectly decent job. But I thought he'd be living off his writing, and I mentioned this to him, but I got to know them through social media, social networking. And he said, writing's never paid his bills. He does it because he loves writing. What pays his bills is being a postman. That absolutely knocked me sideways. I was so taken aback by that. And of course, the more I got to know about actual writers and their actual lives, not the PR version, the real version, and statistics of book sales, it tells its own story. Most writers have jobs as well. Not a problem. That's life. Deal with it. But it's better to be forewarned with the reality and not go into writing with the illusion it's easy money, because it certainly isn't. You spend an enormous amount of work writing, time writing, even more time editing and rewriting, and then sending stuff off, and you get a thanks, no thanks email back. Oh, I'll tell you something else as well. From my point of view, I no longer submit stories that require them to go in the post with a postage stamp on, because that costs money. What you actually get paid, if you get paid for a short story, it wouldn't cover the postage of all these stuff that you've sent out. If I can't submit stories online, I don't submit them at all. You don't have to do that. That is totally your choice. I'm not telling you what to do. I'm just telling you this is what I do. Anyway, fancy writing programs? No, you don't need those either. I just use Word. I just use Word, an ordinary Word program. Maybe you find a fancy program easier for you. Maybe you like the idea of it. Fine, I like simplicity. You know, as with when I go out sketching, I have a notepad, a sketch pad, and a couple of pens. That's my lot. Other people go out laden down with tons of kit. No, I always keep everything simple. It just saves a lot of nonsense. The more complicated you make things, the more technically reliant you make things, more stuff to conk out, isn't it? You know. But again, your choice. I'm just watching the pigeon clambering around my cherry tree outside in the garden. 2 huge fat wood pigeons. They do this every year. They wait for the tree to start to come into blossom, which mine hasn't yet. This tree blossoms after most other cherry trees. But as soon as the blossoms come out, the wood pigeons land and they eat like the top half of the tree. They can't get to the bottom half quite so easily. But the top half of it, the new petals and the fresh new green leaves, they just strip it. Honestly, every year the same thing happens. And I'm watching the pigeons. They're looking at it now, weighing it up, thinking, right, when's my next snack due? We can have a good old feast here. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video. Leave me a comment down below. If you haven't subscribed already, click that subscribe button. It really helps with the algorithms. And thanks for watching. See you soon. Bye.